I'm building a custom bot network that deploys crypto trading bots. 2 weeks ago, we gave 3 bots $100 each to see how much money they could make. We did pretty good. In the first day, we made $6, and in the first week, we made 8.5%. I continue to leave the bots going 24/7 to see how much money they can make, and each week I'm going to publish an update on Friday. This week was a pretty big week. Bitcoin finally rallied, taking us out of this 11-week slump. So let's go ahead and look at the charts and see how the bots did. So first let's take a look at the Bitcoin daily chart. So there's a 1-day candles you see here. And as we mentioned, we've had this steady increase. I think there was 8 days in a row that we've had an increase. And if you watch any of Benjamin, I think his last name's Cohen, Benjamin Cohen's videos, he talks about how often we have 7-day and 8-day gains in Bitcoin, and 8-day gains are pretty rare. And as you can see, after the 8th day here, it's no exception. We kind of turned around. But also we hit this kind of local top as well. So those are a couple of things to think about as we trade and as I guide the bots and opening their deals. You can see this this long vertical line here, and that represents when the week started. So it's these 7 days that we're looking at. So from last Friday at 8 p.m. Until today, this Friday at 8 p.m. That's our 1 week that we're looking at for the bots deals. So if we go over here to the hourly chart, so these are 1-hour candles, you can see a little higher resolution. Again, that green line represents when the week starts. So you can see we had a really good week. Very early on in the week, we had this big surge. This was, I think maybe Sunday or Monday night. So we had that big bump. That's when we had something like 11% gains in like 1 hour. And so if we go over to the 15-minute chart, again, well, there's not too much more information there. So let's go ahead. Each day this week, as I looked at the charts, I recorded a little bit of content on me looking at the charts, looking into the numbers, and adjusting any of the metrics for the bots. So let's go ahead and look at that video now. Now, sped things up. It's about a 6-minute video. So this is the very beginning of the week. This is Monday. This is just after that spike had happened. So yeah, it was Monday. So here I'm just looking at, from the current levels, how far are we going to maybe fall back to this kind of most recent support level. So how much space is there between the resistance and the support? And that's what I use to set my maximum deal depth. So I'm pretty much just trying to make sure it's not too far past 9 or 10%. I had currently, or actually I think at the beginning of this we were at 5% maximum deal depth because we were so low at the bottom, weekly bottoms. Yeah, and then we made this update to 8%. So here you can see I'm updating the buying values. So these are all dollar values. I upped the bot's buying power from $100 per bot to $167 per bot, so that we had 3 bots with about $500 in total. So you can see I adjusted the dollar value and then some of the percentage drop parameters so that we could have a little bit more safety. I thought we were going to have bigger swings, more volatility. So that's what I was planning for the weekend. It turned out to be true. Here I'm looking at the RSIs because I want to adjust the parameters for opening the deal. So the previous parameters were for adjusting, I'll stop it right here real quick. The previous parameters are for adjusting the deal, like when to make new purchases and how to cascade those purchases and how big to make them as the price drops. And this is the buying and selling thresholds. You'll see these are, I guess you'd say, pretty aggressive. My standards are over here on the right. So I'm looking for an RSI of, on the 1 day of 55, the RSI on the 1 hour of 55, and the RSI on the 15-minute chart of 45 minutes. And in case you're not familiar with RSI, that's a measurement of how under or oversold something is. So again, the bots will place orders based off of these threshold values. So the coin that we'd like to purchase has to be below these values to open it up. So if the RSI was 54 on the 1 day, 54 on the 1 hour, and 44 on the 15-minute, it would open a deal. I adjust those depending on what the market looks like. And since we had this big surge, the daily and the hourly are going to be a bit higher because of Bitcoin's surge. So I was pretty comfortable with it as long as I was checking on it daily and making sure that nothing gets too out of whack. So here's the first deal that was opened up after I made those checks, or made those changes. So now I'm just checking to see how those numbers look in real time. With that horizontal line I've just drawn there, that's the resistance level that I'm looking at. So I just want to make sure that my final purchases aren't going to be too high above that resistance level, or else my some of my purchases won't, some of my buy orders won't help as much. So here I'm just looking at how far into each deal we already are. Maximum deal size is $167, and we're currently at 115. So that's the majority of the deal that's already in. I think we're on Tuesday now, actually. So I was starting to get a little bit more scared that we might see some bigger drops. So I was starting to check things at least once a day, sometimes twice a day, and just seeing how close we were to that full 8% drop, that maximum depth. But things still look pretty good. I was still pretty certain we were going to do great here. I'll skip ahead just a little bit. Some of these are fast forwarded, that's why it looks a little crazy. So this is Thursday. So just yesterday of publishing this video, and here's where I was actually starting to get a little scared because we were in our 8th day here. You can see on the chart here, our 8th day of consecutive Bitcoin gains. So I've been a little apprehensive, but I actually haven't made any changes yet because that 8% drop that we talked about, so that maximum depth, that maximum coverage, you can see it here. That 8% is still holding up pretty well. In this shot, I have 7% that I've pulled this level down to, but I bought it 1% higher. So again, this is looking at a maximum depth of 8%, and it's pretty well in line with this bottom of this resistance, or I'm sorry, support. So I was pretty happy with these parameters, and I've left them going. All right, now it's time to see how much money the bots actually made this week. So going over to the site here, you can see that our weekly profit was $26. That's 5.26% as shown here if we count that the money at risk was $500. So again, that's 3 bots with $167 each. That's $501. So again, that's 5.26%. That's not too shabby. Actually, 2 of those days we had the previous parameters when we only had $200 per bot. So if you kind of average everything out, I did the calculation here. That's about 6.3%, but difference between 5% and 6%, especially at these dollar values, not so much. So anyway, we made about 6%. That's not too bad. I'm not ecstatic with it, although I think repeated 6% weekly profits is pretty good. But we had this big surge in Bitcoin, and it would be great if the bots could make better use and better profit of that. So I'm going to look in how best to do that. We made quite a few deals during that big surge, during that big jump in those 1 or 2 hours where we went up 10%. But it was like repetitive, like 10 and 12 cent deals. Whereas if we had something like a trailing stop loss, we could do quite a bit better. So I'm going to look into how I want to incorporate that into the bots going forward, and if that's an always thing, or if we want to leave it up to the bots to determine when to do a trailing stop loss and how to do it, I'm going to look into that. But so anyway, about 6%, not too bad. You can see I also made some updates here where, as I've looked at the charts, I discussed how I think about like the market environment and what gives me caution and what makes me optimistic and stuff like that. So I'm going to use this environment parameter here to guide some of the meta parameters of the bot network. So anyway, right now I'm a little cautious because I think we're at a potential local top, but we'll see how that plays out. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. It'll definitely be a really interesting week next week to see if the gains continue. So hopefully we'll see you in next week's video. Bye.